The Portrait of a Lady. The story, The Portrait of a Lady, depicts the bond of the familial relationship between a grandmother and her grandson. The grandson is the narrator of the story. He is Kushwant Singh, the author. He lives with his grandmother in their village house. Life in the village. His parents have moved to the city, and for the time being, he is under the guardianship of her widowed grandmother. She is a pious and a beautiful woman, even though she has grown old and wrinkled. She moves slowly with slumped shoulders, but is in a constant mood of spiritual and religious enchantment. This gives her an air of calmness that the author likens to that of snow-capped peak under the winter sun. The author studies in a school attached to a temple complex, so the grandmother escorts him to it and spends her time in religious devotion until he finishes his school day. In the evening, they both return home and feed stray dogs along with their journey. Change in lifestyle. The daily routine is finally disrupted when they both are relocated to the city where the author's parents reside. The settling in period in the big city brings its own set of forces for both the grandson and his grandmother. Even though they share the same room, they grow apart gradually. The author is enrolled in an English medium school where he learns science and mathematics in place of religion and spirituality. He also starts taking interest in music, which is a taboo for the austere grandmother. She fills her time in spiritual endeavors and tending to the sparrows that visit their city house. Growing separation. The grandson then moves to university and is given a separate room for privacy and independence. This alienates the two further. As time goes by, the author he decides to move abroad for higher studies. His stay would last 5 years, so he assumes that it would be the last time he would get to see his grandmother, who was not getting any younger. She goes to see him off to the railway station, and they say their warm goodbyes. Author's written. When the author returns home 5 years down the line, he is pleasantly surprised to see his grandmother lead the welcoming party. Back at home, she keeps busy with her sparrows but arranges a celebratory function for the returning grandson. She, along with other women folk from the vicinity, partakes in festive song and dance to rejoice the return of her grandson. Grandmother's death. However, the festivities do not last long, as the very next day the grandmother falls sick. Even though the doctors allays fear of serious illness, she could feel a nearing demise. She asks to be left alone and devotes herself to prayer and appreciation of God. Suddenly her rosary drops to the floor as her soul departs to the heavens. The funeral is arranged and has some special guest in the form of her beloved sparrows that gather around the house in a poetic procession for the dearly departed. As the body of the grandmother leaves the house, so do the sparrows, untying another string of love, care, and familial concern. This is a summary of this lesson. I hope you all understood this.